Well, it's been a little while. Holidays kind of got in the way. Life got in the way. Things have been a little crazy. I've got a few new entanglements here, and I'm trying to get my studio set up a little bit more effectively. But I wanted to chat just a minute about some awareness I had recently that I think maybe will resonate with a few of you, maybe many of you. There's something funny about the winter. There's something funny, especially about the winter in the Pacific Northwest when it's gray and dark and sometimes rainy and dreary for so long. I think it's been my experience, and it's been the experience of people I know, that that often produces a kind of lethargy, both physical and emotional lethargy. And given enough time and maybe given enough negative circumstances to compound that natural lethargy with real life challenges, real life issues, major or minor emotional traumas, that lethargy can produce a real discouragement, maybe even darkness or depression. And if you felt that way, even for moments at a time or days at a time, or certainly if you felt that way for extended period of time, number one, clinical depression is a serious thing. I'm not qualified, nor do I have any desire to try to provide resources for someone who's clinically depressed. However, I'm not really speaking to that. I'm speaking to that lethargy, that emotional lethargy that affects us all during this time. And I was struck by something. I was listening to a podcast, and it talked about sometimes we miss the message of nature. And I know this is going to sound a little woo woo, but that's okay. You'll have to bear with me. One of the messages of nature is that different seasons produce different results and have different expressions. And I think the same is true for us as humans. The truth of the matter is, in wintertime, deciduous trees lose their leaves and they go dormant, sort of. They rest. They kind of hibernate. Animals of some species hibernate during the wintertime. They literally sleep for an entire winter season. But I was fascinated by these deciduous trees. I was looking at one right outside the window at the place I live, and it had lost all of its leaves, of course. And in the past, I've referred to these trees as rather ugly looking compared to the vibrancy of the full green leaves when they're in spring and summer bloom, or the beautiful colors of fall before all those leaves fall off and produce the ugliness that I have characterized in the past. And I want to suggest that it's number one, it's not an ugliness. Number two, it's a cycle. And number three, it's necessary for that rest and recovery during a season of darkness, during a season of cold, longer nights, darker days, colder temperatures. Those messages from nature are rest. Accept that time as necessary and needed for your own mental and emotional well-being as well as your physical well-being. And I've tried to embrace that. I do it poorly because, like many of you, I'm a driven person, and it's kind of that go, 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 gotta get out of bed, gotta get going. But I find that my body and my mind and my heart need some more rest right now than I have typically given it during the rest of the year. So my encouragement today is take a message from nature, take a lesson from nature. We need rest. We need it at different times in different ways, but I especially suggest during these winter months when there is a lethargy, an emotional and mental lethargy, that maybe our bodies need a little bit of rest. So find ways to give yourself a break. Find ways to give yourself rest. Take time to store up good things inside you so that when spring comes and the sun's out, metaphorically and literally, you have the resources because you took time to recharge, renew, and refresh. And don't resent or resist this time of uh, quiet, calmer, maybe even more reflective or introspective. It's a season, it's a necessary season. To your success as you define it, I wish you nothing but a fantastic winter.